I've been making comic books for 15 years, and who doesn't want to see themselves in a comic book?
That's what we thought straight away. It was comical.
I remember thinking to myself, like, the energy everywhere I went was just electric, like nowhere else on the planet.
Now listen, we came here to have fun. That's what we came here for, and we happened to do quite well out of it.
Because a comic is a great way to explain something in a really simple, entertaining fashion.
We're on a similar tip, aren't we? We're trying to tell stories of this island and trying to tell the history.
Celebrating the people who created the magic.
Welcome to the Ibiza Hall of Fame podcast with myself, Clara, Griffin, and also Big Al. Our next guest is the talented artist and creator of the We Love Ibiza comic book series, bringing Ibiza's history to life through illustration. We welcome Aura Gold into the Ibiza Hall of Fame.
Hello, Aura.
Hi! Thanks for having me.
Hi, lovely meeting you as
Nice
well.
to meet you guys. Thank you.
So this is a special edition today because
Very
this is the
special
first
edition.
time that we've had an artist on our show.
Okay.
So we would love to know your history. Personally, when was your first year in Ibiza?
I came sometime in the mid-noughties. I don't really actually know which year it was, but I came in the mid-noughties. I was a bit late coming here because I didn't really live in Europe, so we came from Australia actually, and we stayed at Pisces Park. Can you believe it? I remember that.
Yeah. Right.
It was like a lunatic asylum in there, yeah. And I remember getting there. I remember getting into, where did we go first? We went to Zoo Project. And I just remember the dancers in Zoo Project. This guy came out like some sort of like circus tamer, and he had 3 women dressed as cheetahs all on leashes. And they was like acting like they were like, and they were in a cage, and it was just wild. And then I remember we met these photographers, and it must have been Radio 1 weekend. We went to Privilege, and I remember the queue outside Privilege was just wrapped around the building. And we went in the back with these photographers. And I remember the best bit was they showed us this, they were like, if you want a drink, just put this curtain across. And there was a dispensing machine there. You could get like cans of Coke and water for like 50 cents. And we didn't have much money back then, and we did Ibiza on a budget. We saw Cold Cocks at Space. And we went to We Love Sundays and Bora Bora when it was just a shack. Oh, it was great. I remember thinking to myself, like, everybody is here to have a good time, to party, and the energy everywhere I went was just electric. Yeah, like nowhere else on the planet.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, we often talk about the magic of Ibiza.
Yeah.
And you've been here, you live here now, so you get it, don't you?
Yeah, I've been here it's very different living here to coming on holiday here, I have to say. Very different. I do love living here. I've lived in like 9 countries, and it's great here. I do have, like, this book has made me feel very
a part of the island.
Very integrated. You know, I've met people that I would never meet normally, from their 90s to all ages, from all different walks of life, and that's been the most beautiful part about this project.
Well, but the research you've done for it, obviously, that's a big part of it, isn't it? Because you've had to speak to all these characters. You have to, and get the history and.
Yeah, and it was just, I chose one person, Clive Crocker. And Clive opened the first jazz bar, and he was like in his 90s when I met him. He's since passed. He passed last year at like the grand old age of 94 or something. And then he connected me to 2 people who connected me. It happened very organically, so I never sort of steered the story. I just was like, oh, who's going to pop up next? Because I didn't know anyone, So I was just lucky that the local community loved it and just opened up.
I think that's Ibiza, though, isn't it? I think everyone wants to tell their story, don't they?
They do, but you know what? Some people have told their stories so many times. But I think what was the winning factor for me is it's a comic book. And that got people's curiosity.
Yeah. It's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I've been making comic books for 15 years. And who doesn't want to see themselves in a comic book as a little cartoon character? Because also, like, you can get away with so much in a comic book that you cannot in words. So you can get across humour and emotion. You can get across private jokes in the background. So it becomes, I feel like I've created a movie even though it's in a book.
Me and Tommy, our first party, the Mad Mondays, we used 2 caricatures of
ourselves. Did you?
That's what we did. So there was me and Tommy either side of a little DJ, and it was the Mad Man from Mad Magazine. It was the DJ, and me and Tommy have the 2 caricatures which we did down the front.
Perfect.
And that's that. So we that was our first poster.
I think it's those illustrations, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got those. Yeah.
You look at a cartoon and you can't help but smile.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
You know what I mean?
Straight away.
Like,
it was comical. Yeah.
Yeah. And this, like the whole, what I wanted to create was I wanted to take people on a trip down memory lane, and I only really wanted to focus on a good, heartwarming, funny stuff. I don't especially want to get into the politics of things because I don't really care.
There's a lot of politics.
There's a lot of politics, you know.
We can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Tell us, where does the book start? Where does it start?
So it starts 155 million years ago when Ibiza rose from the ocean. So Ibiza's a mountain. It's part of the Baetic Mountains. I think Mallorca is part of the same mountain range.
Yeah, this is the tip of it, basically.
And that was millions and millions of years ago. And, you know, she got submerged and she rose, and that happened for quite, a good 100 million years until she rose for the final time about 15 million years ago.
15 million years ago.
And that's
still no people at that point.
No people. Like, she was very isolated, and Ibiza was never on the trading routes, the shipping trading routes. And so there was like your sort of caveman settlers here, but no one actually even knows why they were here, how they got here, were they exiled. It just didn't make any sense.
They probably washed up, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't fertile here or anything. And then the first settlers in history that we recorded is the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians were they were like the inventors of consumerism. They made a purple dye from shells, so they wore lots of purple clothes, and they
were
traded
hippies
in glass.
without even knowing it, with the purple clothes.
Yeah, well, they were quite fancy, you know. They invented the first alphabet, which is still used in Greek today.
Well, they had the colourful glass and all the Phoenicians
yeah,
as well, didn't
they were very fancy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think they're called I've got them written here, can never say it, Talaiotic people in Mallorca. They were completely different. They were very warlike.
Really?
They built big walls and, liked to have a good fight. Whereas the Phoenicians were very diplomatic and quite sophisticated.
So really, the whole history of this island was started out with the Phoenicians, didn't it?
Yeah.
And they, as you say, they were a bit fancy. So
they were fancy.
That's sort of what's evolved from the island, isn't it, basically?
It's so true. And then their cousins, the Carthaginians, came along, and they turned Ibiza into a trading post. And so you had this trading triangle between Cadiz, Ibiza, and Carthage. And Ibiza actually had a lot of trading power, and it became very important, even though it was just this tiny little rock. And then it drew attention, then it became something, so other civilizations wanted a piece.
Yeah. What were they
Romans
trading?
Oh, they did spices and
spices,
everything.
Salts. Obviously, the salt plains have always been a big export. Probably pine.
Well, the pine trees are everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah. Not much grew here, though. Later on, almonds were quite a big export. They were quite lucrative. But then when the Wall Street crash happened...
as well?
Yeah, a little bit. It's not a very big place. There's not really enough...
It's not a very big island, is it?
It's not enough to grow, to export, if you know what I mean. But then the Romans came, and the Romans...
But that was fun.
Yeah, the Romans just, destroyed everything. And then the Vandals and the Byzantines came, and they all sort of disappeared. And then the Moors came, and the Moors came from northern Africa, and the Berbers.
Well, they conquered most of the southern Spain, didn't they?
Yeah, they controlled a lot of Spain, and they bought
Seville, for instance, and places like that.
Granada, and they bought better irrigation techniques and exotic foods. But then they were driven out by the Spanish Inquisition, because everyone had to be Catholic.
Yeah.
And then following that, you had then from 1235, the Catalans it's been under the Catalan control. So then Catalan became the main language until Franco came, because Franco didn't wanted anyone speaking Catalan. We all had to speak Spanish.
Well, I often say about the Franco, because this island was left alone pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was the black sheep of the family type of thing that he didn't care about.
Yeah, it really was. And then in the 70s, so still when Franco was in control, it was either the King of Spain or the Prince of Spain came, and he wanted to come and see the hippies, because the hippies had become quite this phenomenon. But the mayor of Ibiza, he cleaned Ibiza town up. He told the hippies, you need to go. We need the prince is coming. And when the prince got here, he was famous for saying, well, where's all my hippies? And he'd hidden them all away. And I think the hippies are like, we had the Beats before the hippies, like all the American draft dodgers.
Yeah, draft dodgers.
But the hippies were the catalyst for the Ibiza culture, you know,
Yes.
because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And they came from the US, and there was the hippie trail all the way from, like, you know, Paris, England, all the way to Goa. And Ibiza was on that hippie trail. And that's when, you know, hashish started to come in, and cannabis, and lots of mescaline from Valencia. And, you know, Ibiza started to take on a little bit of a different life from then.
Yeah.
But you had, like, the local people who were so entrenched in their very traditional local customs that have been, like, they've been doing since the Middle Ages. And then these hippies coming in, living in communes, using drugs, and, you know.
The locals must have thought, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, they're very tolerant people, very tolerant, and I think they just sort of ignored them. They called them the paluts, which meant the hairy ones. But the local people, they're very tolerant. I think being island folk and having been invaded for centuries, I think they get used to it, you know.
And they didn't mind being invaded by hippies.
Yeah, I mean, the hippies brought with them, like, the hippies generated a lot, probably work eventually, and, you know, they eventually, the local people here, they're very cut off from the rest of the world, you know.
It's a bubble, yeah.
They didn't know what a hippie was.
Even on this island, when you come here for the summer, you're in a bubble.
Completely.
I
mean, I live here and I tell you it's a bubble.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's like the rest of the world doesn't matter when you're here, does it?
No, the West of the world doesn't exist. When I leave here and I go, like, I'm going to England next week, it's actually quite confronting. Like, you can't wait to get back, if I'm really honest with you. Like, I live in the middle of nowhere. At night time, there's no light pollution, there's no noise. When there's a black moon, you can't see your hand in front of you, you know. It's just, and I've got a beautiful view across the Santa Ynez Valley. And that valley only had electricity like 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, no, this island, it's evolved vastly recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, the locals went on a massive learning curve. Like, when in the 60s, Pepe Rezejo from Space, he's written a really good book about growing up in San Antonio. It's the only book I found that documents that town back then.
Pepe is one of the families. His family is very entrenched in everything that goes on in this island.
Yeah, I mean, he had many clubs before Space. His first son was Playboy, and then he had Playboy 2. He had Bar La Reja, which was very good live jazz music. He had a really good restaurant in San Antonio. He's been heavily involved. But his book, he talks about, so the French came, and they were called Club of the Argonauts. And the French women wore really short shorts. And the locals would call the police.
Really?
They'd call the police on these women. And also the French couples, they weren't married, and they were staying in the same hotel rooms. And that was just unheard of for the local people. They were like, and of course every local man probably wanted a French woman. You know, just being eyes open to just things that they just couldn't comprehend at the time. So it was a fast learning curve for them.
Yeah, they had to learn fast.
Yeah, they did. And I think they did, you know. Then they all opened businesses.
I mean, I often talk about Matutis on this island, because without Matutis, you know, that family, they're sort of the major player on the island, aren't they?
Yeah,
they always have been. I mean, Abel Matutis famously was the foreign minister of Spain.
Yeah.
And owns a lot of Playa Bossa, and he owns all the major clubs.
I think his great grandfather, whatever it is, you know, was obviously quite a visionary man back in those days. You know, he got into shipping, and then he started shipping supplies around during World War I, and, you know, and then when.
But they loaned the money to the Ibathinga people to build the original hotels. They owned the Bank of Matutis.
Yeah, they were the first money lender. Then later they opened the first bank, and I think a lot of businesses actually banked with Bank of Matutis up until the 90s. Yeah. You know, when he held them up for quite a while. He's a very successful guy. Yeah. He actually built a hotel. So he was one of the first to build the big hotels.
Fiesta hotels, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Cantoni. And then he built this other hotel, which might have been before, I can't recall, but it was on the flight path, so the planes would come, and the pilots were like, the hotel's too high, and it shut down the airport. So the airport wasn't open at night, and that caused a massive uproar on the island. And he tried to come to a solution, and in the end they blew it up.
They blew the hotel
They blew it up, yeah. I saw some photos in the newspaper, but then he didn't stop him, you know, he went on and
Yeah, I mean, listen. Right now he owns a Schweier. The planes go over the top of it. He owns the old space. That's his land, which is high now. I mean, so he's fully entrenched onto this island, and now Universe. So I mean, he is the major player on this island.
He really is.
I think his son runs.
Love him or hate him, like he made.
Without him, it wouldn't be the same, would it?
No, I mean maybe eventually. But he bought electricity when there wasn't electricity, and he funded the Pereira Theatre in Ibiza town as well. He's definitely a big part of the story. He's in the book.
He's in the book.
And actually, I've got a copy to go and gift to.
His grandfather's.
Grandfather. So I've got a copy for Abel Matutis. I'm going to go and I'm going to give it to him.
What year did they blow up the hotel? The year that they blew up the hotel for the airport?
It must have been the sort of 60s or 70s.
It was. I think it was. I think it was the 60s. I've got it in here. I've got a page with a big boom on it.
And also, when you were talking about the hippies, I think I read from your book as well. I saw some of the book on. I think it was displayed on DJ Mag. Did they do
like 2 years ago?
Yeah, they said something about when in San Francisco they were protesting against the Vietnam War, and a lot of those Americans, hippies, would come to Ibiza.
They came here. Yeah, that was
draft dodgers.
Yeah.
I got this story from Juanito, whose dad created Las Dahlias, and the farmers were outside Las Dahlias playing cards, and suddenly these hippies are walking down the road, and in various colourful clothing and flowers in their hair and maybe no clothes or maybe topless. And these farmers were just like, what are these people? Are they aliens? Like, because they were just such a shock for the local people. They'd never seen anything like a hippie before.
Las Dahlias is where the famous hippie market on the island is. And it's very nice, the hippie market, isn't it? I always go there and buy lots of beads and bangles and things like that.
It opened in 1954 just as a small bar, and Juan Marie opened it just for the local people. This is in San Carlos. There's no tourists in San Carlos.
The son's taken over Senna, is that correct?
No, so Juanito is Juan Marie's son, and then Senna and Igor Marijuan, they run a casha. Okay. So Juanito doesn't have anything to do with the casha. He sort of leases it out.
Because I'd like to get them on, because it's a big part of the island, the hippie market.
You should get Juanito on. Juanito grew up so his dad, when he first started it, there was no electricity in San Carlos, so it was all run by a generator. And his dad, it was such a luxury back then to have a cold drink. So his dad used to get on his bicycle and cycle to Ibiza town and put a massive chunk of ice on the back of his bike. And by the time he got back, it was half the size. But like the dedication that went into, he was like, I want to have cold drinks at my party. And if you had like local drinks, they were 1 peseta. And if you had a branded drink, it was 2 pesetas. And the local priest, he didn't like Las Dahlias, because if you had a nightclub license, if you had a nightclub license, people could dance and touch each other. If you didn't have a nightclub license, they couldn't.
Was it Catholic? And he was probably Catholic. Catholic, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the priest ignored his family for years. And the priest was putting on...
They must have all disappeared now, all the priests. They're this island. I think they've given up. They've given up, haven't they?
Well, he was putting on movie nights at the local church to try and get all the sinners away from Las Dahlias.
Well, there's plenty of them on this island.
There was a nice story here. So the circus came. There was a travelling circus, and they got...
Some people would say this island is a circus.
Well, this was in 1970, and the travelling circus got stuck in Ibiza because he ran out of money. And so Antonio Villanueva, who's a local artist here, he lives in Ibiza town. He's got a studio here at the minute, and so he got together all his Hollywood friends. And they created a night at the circus. So Terry Thomas was the clown, and Nigel Davenport was the ringmaster. And Rolf Blackstad, he was a famous architect here, he was a wrestler with his sister-in-law. And then Nina and Frederick, who were a famous Dutch pop duo at the time, they were singing. And they raised enough money so the circus could feed the animals and the circus could go on their way around Europe. And it was just such a nice. Only in Ibiza story would you find Terry Thomas.
Well, Terry Thomas, I've been to. I went to his home, his big villa, right in the mountains, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good party. I mean, that was a sad story at the end. That Terry wasn't when he went and that. But yeah, I mean, he was a big part of this island for quite a few years. We lived there a long time.
Yeah, he had a really fancy classic car, convertible BMW or something. Here it is, and he potato printed it. Like stylishly, so painted the whole car, and then like his kids and the Blackstad kids, they've got great memories of driving around in this car in Ibiza, and like they had a good life here.
Yeah, no,
it's been nice going up here.
Being brought up on this island,
yeah,
it's a nice thing, isn't it?
Just amazing. Oh, here's the hotel. So it was 1970.
There you go. Yeah, it had to be around that period.
1970, and yeah, they just blew the whole thing up.
Boom.
They blew it up on the 12th of February 1971.
Well, if it was stopping the planes coming in, it didn't make any sense.
I mean, I think they're being a bit dramatic. I mean, I don't know. It didn't look like the hotel was that high.
Well, yeah, it's not that many stories, is it? No. Planes were different back then.
Yeah, maybe they flew lower. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's quite surprising that they built a hotel near a flight path.
Well, all them hotels,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you come straight over Plain and Bossa, don't you, when you come in?
Yeah, I mean, when he built that, there was just nothing around. Maybe there's a couple of chiringuitos and that.
I mean, just on I came 1980, so just my years of being here, quite a long time now, but the changes are unbelievable.
Yeah.
The biggest change for me is the roads.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when they joined Europe, and Europe gave them the money to build decent roads, I mean, prior to that, the roads were terrible.
Yeah, and that's why some people never left their town.
Yeah.
You know, the locals, they didn't have a car for
I mean, the big main road between Ibiza and San Antonio was probably the most dangerous road in the world. I mean, people dying on that road every day at one point. It was terrible.
I don't remember it. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, this is probably just before your... I mean, late 80s, early 90s, you know. I mean, we did a party in Koo. There would be hundreds of people got no money left after coming out of Koo, walking back to San Antonio on that road.
Yeah. I think that's always been quite a dangerous round.
It's always been a dangerous road, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great what they've done with the roads now, you know.
Yeah. They're better. I don't know, some of the roads are getting a bit too big. They're building a big roundabout at a really dodgy intersection, and it's sort of...
Well, they build the roundabout
sort of encroaching on nature.
The police can stop you and get for drink drive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's
there
a tax,
is.
Isn't it? It's a tax. So your book goes all the way up to 1979.
All the way to 1979, so it includes like the opening of Pacha in 73, and then Es Paradis in 75, Amnesia in 76. And then Koo was already a club. I think it was called San Rafael
It was
Club.
a tiny little thing. It just kept growing, didn't it?
Yeah, and then it became like Koo in like 78.
Yeah. It was when the guys from Santander,
Yeah.
Rory and Santa Maria and
Yeah, one of them was an ex-footballer, I think, wasn't
Santa Maria.
Yeah.
He famously got shot by ETA.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, in the head at dinner.
Ooh, wow.
I mean, I knew Santa Maria.
What a way to go out.
Well, I mean, I think he played for Real Madrid or something like that.
Yeah, he did.
And I knew him quite well because I used to, you know, the game, like a game of squash, but you do it with a glove and a...
Paddle.
No, it's not. No, underneath the club in Koo, there was one court, and it was like squash, but you use your hand, and it was a squash ball, and you would hit the ball, and it was like playing squash without a paddle. You use your hand.
Below Koo?
Yeah, but it's underneath in the club.
Okay,
I used to play that with him, and because he was older, much older than me, but I was always a sportsman. I played tennis, I played football, and all that. Yeah. So I used to go running with him in the grounds all around Koo. So we became quite good friends, and it was quite sad when that happened. You know, I think it was obviously to do with drug money and stuff.
Oh, of course, you know.
That's just another part of this history of this island. But what I will say about the guys from the north of Spain, and they came over and they were very classy. What they did with Koo was fantastic for this island.
Yeah.
You know, and the story I say is when they sold it to Matutis and Jose, it was never the same club ever again. It was, the classiness had disappeared. I mean, maybe it's come back now.
Yeah.
We're now Matutis.
It was also just a different era, wasn't it?
You know. And listen, that club was open air. It was beautiful. It was. For me, it was the best place in the world.
Did you have one of the secret keys to the back door?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I've heard about that secret key.
And the famous Coca Loco bar.
Yes.
Brasilio's Coca Loco.
Yeah.
And if you got the wink, it had mescaline in it.
Yeah, someone told me that if the straw was bent.
I loved it.
Yeah, there was what the one with the bent straw had the mescaline, and then the one with the straight straw
Well,
didn't.
they just give you a look. Is it like, yeah, okay, I'll have it.
I mean, loads of venues had their signature cocktail. Yeah. I go into that a bit in book 2, but I keep it all quite anonymous.
Well, Brasilio, obviously you're going to talk about.
Yeah, Brasilio's in here.
Oh, he's in that? You actually got him when he first arrived?
Right at the end.
Yeah, well, that would have been when he first arrived. For me, Brasilio he's the best person at doing my job in the world. He was, and he gave us our start on the island. So
yeah, I've got
a lot of affection for Brasilio. He was a lovely man.
Yeah,
he really was a lovely man.
They had this would have been before you got here, but so Carlos Motorel, he's like the first PR boy in Ibiza, and he put on a party at Coup. I think it was in '78, and it was Death of the Mediterranean Sea. And so, because he was swimming one day, and this is 1978, and he saw plastic in the ocean, and he was like...
So he spotted it straight away.
Yeah, but in 1978, nobody was really thinking about
he was before his
rubbish
time.
And recycling, right?
Yeah.
No. And so he was... And then
he was a hippie, wasn't he, obviously?
Yeah, and then he created this party, so the dress code, you had to come in mourning, so everyone has to come in black. And then he dressed as this priest, and he held this giant fish. And then they paraded around the pool, and they had like wreaths and everything, like the lengths they went to.
But you had people like "Mercy, Mercy Me," the song that's about pollution in the seas. Yeah, Marvin Gaye. I mean, so that kind of thing was happening, and people were talking about it.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear it. Yeah.
You know, that beautiful song "Mercy, Mercy Me." I mean, it's about pollution. It's about pollution.
Yeah, I can't think how it goes, but yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful song.
I like that
story.
It's one
of my favourite songs.
And that's one of the stories that no one knows. We found one photo where you can see Carlos as the priest.
Well, Brasilio was famous because he was Brazilian. He did Brazil night.
Yeah,
that was his big
Sundays.
Party. Yeah, the fiesta
with the
Brazil.
parade.
I mean, it was a proper carnival. His party was a proper carnival.
In book 2, we've done like a big double-page spread, and we've got the whole parade in Ibiza town with Brasilio and all the dancers and stuff.
Did you have samba dancers?
Yeah, it was Brazil. It was carnival.
Really?
It was like baby carnival in Ibiza.
I mean, he started the street parades, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I can't say enough good things about that man because, you know, I watched him, and he took me under his wing, and me and Tommy see something in us that, you know, obviously we sort of came from the same sort of, you know, the idea of PR. We wanted, you know, we had an affinity with getting people into a place, and building a night and all that. And he see that in us, you know.
Yeah. Enjoy the party.
Yeah.
He enjoyed the party.
Yeah, so you know, I can't say enough nice things about that man.
Yeah.
And it's when he died, it was very sad because it was during lockdown, wasn't it? And
it wasn't that long ago.
He didn't go back to Brazil very often, but he during lockdown, because this was closed, everywhere was closed, and obviously his night La Troya wasn't happening and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he flew back to Brazil and he got COVID and died.
Yeah, I didn't get to interview him, unfortunately. I interviewed his nephew.
He's a beautiful man. He was a softly spoken guy, but really knew his stuff.
I also didn't get to interview Tony Pike. I just missed him.
Yeah, he was another madman.
Yeah, and I also just missed Alfredo.
Yeah, well, I booked. Well, he said he was my resident for years at the club, so yeah.
Because I've got Alfredo. I've got him arriving in Ibiza, and when he first arrived, he sewed clothes and made candles.
So do you know, PP was the DJ that started Alfredo. Without PP telling him where to buy his music, PP was because I've got his story. So I've got him coming to Ibiza. So Pity from Pacha. He did. Pity
headhunted Pippi.
No, they went to
Germany to go and get him.
Yeah.
And he was telling me stories how he used to DJ in this club, and Sven Vath, little mini Sven Vath, used to come in, and he used to let Sven in. Sven was underage then. He used to let him in. And then we've also got Sven coming to Ibiza.
Cocoon,
sleeping on the sun loungers. He came in 1980.
Yeah.
And he slept on sun loungers and gave out flyers.
1980, my first year.
And then he went home and he was just like, I'm going to be a DJ. So I've got his whole little story. And then I've got him performing in Coup as a pop star.
The story is amazing that, you know, all of us guys who came here on holiday, who just see something on this island
Yeah.
and just knew that we had to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's the same story, just keep repeating itself. It's fantastic.
It is. It is.
Either a DJ or a promoter like myself, or like an artist like yourself. It's the creative side of this island that brings it out of us, doesn't it?
No, it really does. And I think like this, what I've noticed along in my research is it's full of people who just had a dream. It wasn't they came here to make money. They just had a dream and they're like, oh, this just sounds like a great idea, and they just did it.
Following your passion.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
And it just worked.
Yeah. No, listen, we came here to have fun. That's what we came here for. And we happened to do quite well out of it.
Exactly. like Antonio, I can never say his surname, Escohotado. He started Amnesia. And he started
The original owner, yeah.
Yeah, the original owner.
Before Martin.
So he started, he used to go to this place called La Tierra, and La Tierra was proper underground. Apparently you could smell the weed like 100 metres down the road. And it had a great record collection. And then Eileen from La Tierra, she died. And he was like, I want a place for my tribe to vibe. And he had this inheritance, and he just bought this old finca. And it was a live music venue at first. They just jammed for days on end. And the minute Amnesia opened, the Guardia Civil hated Amnesia because on opening night, the cars blocked the road, that terrible road you're talking about.
It was 2 lanes, and it was the major road on the island.
They blocked the road, and from then on, the Guardia Civil.
You used to park on the side of that road. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Well, when he had nights, when he didn't actually have it for that long, but the Guardia Civil would come, they'd take the name of every single person who went in there. And Antonio smuggled microdots, and they used to call them window panes back then.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And of course, you can't see them, can you? So the police used to come and they used to do their searches, but they could never find anything. And in the end, actually, he ended up in prison. He got set up by the police. He ended up in prison, and then he leased it out, and eventually he sold it.
Yeah, he sold it to Martin. At the time, I remember Martin, I think it was like 750,000. I thought, that's so cheap for a nightclub in Ibiza.
Yeah, I think he bought it in 91.
Yeah.
91.
Yeah. What's that worth now?
And you can't even I went in there and I'm trying to figure out where the original finca is. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the original thing could be where the offices are, I should imagine. You go as you go into, there's a dance floor, and then there's the offices part you go into, and that would have been. I think that would have been.
Well, you know, like the general entrance. So you know how it's that really small doorway. Yeah. I think that's part of that doorway is too small, right? So I think that doorway is part of that original house. Yeah. I mean, what a story.
It was 50 years this year, isn't it? It's a 50 years.
So we created a comic for Amnesia. So
I see it. I see it.
Did you see it at IMS?
I see it at IMS. Yeah.
So they found out, a good friend of mine.
Ulysses was in it, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I put Dave Swindles because I used some of his photos. So I put him in the back with his camera.
Dave Swindles took a good photograph of me, Tommy, and Jay Janani. Classic picture from a coup in '89. It was. I thought it was 1990, but Dave came back to me. Dave Swindles came back to me and said, no, it was definitely '89.
Is it in his book, Ibiza '89?
I think that is in his book. Yeah.
Obviously, that's in book 3. But we've done he's let me use his photos, and we've redrawn his photos, and then to really help his photos are so great for just explaining how Ibiza in '89 was. You know, we've got Esperadis and Coup and Amnesia in there.
Well, we were doing parties, but we weren't doing weeklies in '89, but we were coming over here doing trips and bringing people over and doing parties in Coup, and we were actually doing that.
With Nicky Holloway as well, didn't he do that too?
Nicky didn't come. Nicky came in the early '90s. He's the only other person that I give the credit of being here when we were here. But Nicky wasn't doing a weekly party like we were. Nicky did a milk bar in San Antonio, and he also one season he took a bar in the back of Pacha.
Okay, yeah, that bit I knew.
That's what they used to do.
Oh yeah, he had like a milk bar in San Antonio, didn't he?
Yeah. So to Nicky, and occasionally would do the Quarry. So he's the only other person I give credit for being out here. You know, me, Tommy, and Nicky were the originators, really. Yeah. You know, but me and Tommy were doing it weekly, so it was a little bit different.
I'm going to have the Quarry party in there. I've been talking to the original organisers of that.
Well, Nicky was he did it.
I did chat to Nicky a while back. It's been hard to manage the information because when I first started, I sort of started a bit further in the future, and then I realised that I had to go back to the beginning.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next chapter. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I have
because it is the dance music chapter, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, well, it's also the bands. We've got Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
We've got I don't know if you've read Tony Pike's book.
I haven't read the book, but I know Tony, so I know exactly what Tony's all.
So Tony's there, like fixing some tiles by the pool or something, and Freddie Mercury rocks up, and he goes. And Freddie Mercury has just done Live Aid. So Freddie Mercury has just been watched by 2.5 billion people around the world, and he walks into Pike's. And he goes, all right, mate, I want to look at your hotel. And Tony is like, doesn't want anyone there. He's like, I just want to finish these tiles. He's like, mate, can you just come back later or something? And he goes, I'm Freddie Mercury. And Tony Pike turns around and goes, I'm Tony Pike. He has no idea who he is.
He was an Aussie, wasn't he? And he was quite brash, wasn't he?
No, actually, he was English. Tony Pike was English, and he spent a lot of time in Australia.
Okay. I've learned something new there.
Yeah, and they ended up being quite good friends. And then we've also got, we've got Tony looking out his window at Pike's, and there's like this old classic car there with two guys who look like they're at the mob. And it ended up being Julio Iglesias' like security or something. And then, I mean, Tony was just another person who, he didn't even want to create a hotel.
No, he just kept building. He just kept building onto it, didn't he?
Yeah, and he kept getting people going to him. Look, I need somewhere to stay. My mates need somewhere to stay, and eventually it just became Pike's Hotel. But he's another really good example of someone
the way it just evolved.
It just evolved, you know. And he was, when he first arrived, there was like a big traditional oven in Pike's, and he was cooking big lamb roasts and inviting the locals round.
Like a pizza oven type thing.
Yeah. I wish I'd met Tony Pike. He's my favourite character in the comics so
really?
far.
Okay.
Yeah, Tony belongs in a comic.
Oh, definitely, because
you know what I mean?
You could easily caricature him easily.
Yeah, we've got him, let's see if I can find it, we've got him in Pike's.
I mean, he was fully on board with the hedonism of what was going on at the time.
Oh, yeah, like...
I don't know if it's true, but
such a character.
I think he had AIDS, didn't he? I think
he did.
And it was from all the hedonism times from sleeping with everybody at the time.
Yeah, you should read his book though. Like, you get like a snapshot into each of his childhood and all his adventures.
Well, he had the problem with his son dying and stuff like that, didn't he?
Yeah. His childhood's quite sad as well. But I really enjoyed the book actually. I just wish I got to meet Tony.
We did interview Pepe, and I wanted even though I knew it would be a long one, but Pepe built that with his own hands.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I went in there last year. And I've walked in the club, and Pepe is actually 80 odd years. I think he's 80 or 81 years old now.
I'd even be 84 now.
And he's the only one left that still owns his club. He's the only one on the island. All the others have come later.
Yeah.
He's the original one, and he built it himself. I've walked in the club. He's 30 foot up a ladder. fixing
surprised me.
I mean,
still doing maintenance.
That's the story I wanted to tell. This man, with his own hands, with the help of the artist that
Luis Guel designed it.
That's the design. He actually built it, didn't he? And there was a few places.
Well, I'm pretty sure he had builders in there, but yeah, he's definitely a hands-on guy.
Hands-on, definitely.
Yeah. And he used to be the lighting guy for Pacha, his DJs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, I've had lots of dealings with her because I did many years with him at It's Paradise. You know, very fond memories because, you know, it was part of our history. We started at Coup, 91 we started, and then we went to Pacha, and then we also did Es Paradise. And it was full every week, so very fond memories.
I quite like Es Paradise. I went to Clockwork Orange a couple of years ago, and it was so fun.
I've always said it's the most beautiful club in the world.
It was just mad. It was great. Proper felt like I was back in the 90s, you know. It was awesome. And that's also Es Paradise. Jose Padilla was resident there in 78. It wasn't his first residency, actually. His first residency...
Jose Padilla never really started the Sunsets till like the 1990, was it?
Yeah, that was later. So he started at Bergantine Hotel, and he didn't want anyone to know he played there because he was having to play things like Barry White and stuff, and he wasn't into Barry White. But then he got the first residency at Es Paradise. But he had residencies in lots of places. He didn't really last long.
Yeah, well, famously, he did like drinking, didn't he?
Yeah, and he opened up a bar, Museo, down in Calavadea, and I found some photos of it. I went down to go, it's now like a wedding venue, and the lady had kept renovation photos, and you could see quite sort of like Gaudi sort of like architecture in there. Yeah. So that's in book 2 as well. Jose Padilla is also one of my. I'm looking
He's
forward
another
to
character.
joining him in book 3.
Listen, me and him had our ups and downs, but let's put it that way. I mean, he asked me to go and get him a record deal for the Café Del Mar albums, and I said I'm too busy. It's silly me.
Yeah, I mean, he started off in the markets, in Punta Arabi market, selling his mixtapes.
But, you know, we had our ups and downs. You know, poster wars. We had all sorts of things going on.
Poster wars.
I mean, there was a lot of craziness going on back then. You know, he used to drink quite a lot, so you know, there was ups and downs. Put it that way. But he was a master at the sunset.
He used to time it to the second, didn't he?
I mean, that the sun dipping into the sea and the music dying. I mean, he was a master. What he did was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that, you know, whatever our past, that wins all of it because it's about the music.
Of course, yeah. And I've got the opening of Café Del Mar in book 2, opened in 1980. And that was designed by Luis Guel as well, with like the. I mean, it still looks like it did when they built it.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
It's amazing.
It hasn't changed one bit, and they just every year they repaint it exactly as it was.
It's beautiful.
You know, with the clouds and the nice pastel colours.
And it costs a fortune. Yeah. You know, that blue marble. Like Luis Guel just smashed the budget. Like he was just, I want to create what I want to create. And it stood the test of time.
People don't realise. I mean, the Sunset Strip is what it is today. I mean, we used to go there in the 80s, and there was like 50 of us go down and have a spliff and watch the sun go down. You know, I mean, and Café Del Mar was the only bar. There wasn't any other bars.
No, there wasn't anything, was there? No. Mambo came in the 90s sometime.
And it wasn't until Javier opened in 94 on Mambo.
That's it, 94.
Started, you know, something and turning it into a strip rather than just one bar for sunset.
And then the music wars happened.
With
the volume.
Well, I think Mambo won that one, didn't they?
I was going to say, how did...
It is quite funny that they're so close to each other. It's got to cause problems.
Famously, Javier's been trying to buy it for years.
Yeah,
I mean, he's bought a lot of places in San Antonio. He's single-handedly turned San Antonio up market almost.
Yeah, he's in here because he came and he was a barman in Nito's.
Originally.
So I've got him in here.
And then he went around the bay and started the Buccaneero.
Yeah, I've got Buccaneeros in book 2.
That's when I met him. I met him when he was in the Buccaneero. Yeah,
I interviewed him a couple of years ago. I like Javier. I'm looking forward to him doing Mambos and everything in there.
Javier gets spoken a lot on this podcast because he was one of my guys who's created a lot on this island.
Yes,
you know, we've done that. We created the pre-party in 1994. You know, and that formula of him putting the DJs on before they go off and play in the nightclubs, he's kept with it.
Amazing, right? And he's been here since '76. You know, he's really one of the original OGs. He really is.
Yeah. And his wife is, with the Scottish connection and the Scottish bars and stuff like that. But another big player on the island now, isn't he?
Oh, massive. He was telling me about his car collection.
Yeah, he likes collections. Yeah, he was telling me about his watch collection that got stolen, which is not particularly good.
Really?
Yeah. He said he's not collecting watches anymore after that.
We've got Glories in here. Do you know Glories? Did you go to
Glories? Yes. Yeah, it didn't last. I mean, it was probably the late 80s. It shut, didn't it?
It closed, I think. So Glories started in the late 70s by Christian Brandenburg. He was a French guy, and it was mostly French. And it was mostly on I think it started on Sundays. And it was where the old dog track was. And then in '87, Glories created the very first after party. Okay. And it went for 3 months. And I swear to God, when people talk about, like, you'd think it went on for years. Those 3 months.
Short period. It was only
the twinkle in people's eyes when they talk about it. They're like, and it wasn't. There was no electronic music.
I was lucky enough to go there.
You went there?
Yeah.
In '87 with Nello and Esteban. I think it was Nello and Esteban. Definitely Nello on the decks, and they were playing everything but electronic music.
Yeah. Well, it was different.
Sounded
back
special.
Then. It was different back then. But prior to acid house, the music was different. It was Balearic.
Balearic, yeah.
Yeah, we got the whole story of Alfredo starting in Amnesia, and then one day he's waiting to get paid, so he just keeps playing his music, and people start coming in, and there's this epiphany, we've got to open later and stay open later, and then that was the magic recipe, I
mean, I remember the late 80s, he'd play William Pitt as his closing track, and the sun would be coming up. It's just wonderful, Then that sliding roof on it at the time. Yeah. So you can imagine, you're in a club, the sun's coming up, and he's closing tracks, this strange French track that you'd never have listened to unless he played it.
Exactly. Like I've got, like in '87, I've got Paul Oakenfold and Danny Rampling discovering amnesia, going into amnesia. Yeah. And I've got like...
well, that was Johnny Walker as well.
Yeah, I've got Johnny Walker in there and Nicky Holloway.
Nicky Holloway, yeah.
And so I've got them in.
Trevor Fung, I think, was a part of that.
Yeah, he was already here though, I think.
Yeah.
But I've got like Paul Oakenfold and Danny Rampling with their jaws dropped to the floor, so it's quite comical. And I've got Alfredo playing...
you got that on there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've made it quite comical because I've got Alfredo playing No, No, No by the Wooden Tops.
Yeah.
And I've got Paul Oakenfold going...
Why? Is it
Why,
yeah.
And I've got him going, if I played this in London, I'd get slaughtered.
Well, no, they all went back.
Yeah.
I mean, I did Nicky Holloway recently on the podcast, didn't we? And he basically said we nicked Alfredo's record box.
They did, like I've got Paul Oakenfold going, you know what, I need to find out every single song.
Yeah.
And Nancy Noyes was the other one. She'd be by the side, just taking notes.
Quite a few of them.
Well, listen, it was it was something completely new to our guys.
It was just different, you know.
Were dance music people. They weren't. They didn't mix pop music with that Balearic thing. Was actually blending different musics together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen now, does it? I mean, it's it's real dance music now.
No, and I've realised that it's quite a sensitive subject when those Brits came over and called it the Balearic beat, and then the locals here I've said the Balearic beat to some people, and I've made them really angry.
Really?
Why
would they do that?
What was their perspective of the music?
Because you've got to look at it from their perspective, you know. They were playing in all these clubs and then the Brits came along and suddenly they were the warm-up guys and...
Oh, no, listen, listen, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, listen,
you know.
when me and Tommy turned up on this island...
And it was theirs, you know, and
I can tell you the complete story of that. So me and Tommy had turned up on this island and started doing weekly parties at Safe Coup at the beginning. They didn't want us there. They did not want us there.
They did not want you there.
But Brasilia wanted us there. The club owners wanted us there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we moved the people. And to the clubs, we were making them a fortune. So that we were there to stay. There was no doubt about that. And basically, they were just the DJs. I mean, the history goes on. We're friends with all of them now. But they didn't want to see it. At the beginning, they didn't want to see it. And now they get the Balearic beat and what it was. And the Balearic beat, that was what was going on this island. But without the English DJs coming in and mixing with the dance music into that as well, they were an influence on each other.
Yeah,
so people,
of course.
Our English DJs often talk about like Oakenfold and that say Alfredo was a big influence, but also those DJs are a big influence on Alfredo and PP. It was a big mix,
and it had been going on for so I have a bit of the history of why the Balearic beat happened. And when you go back, importing records, foreign records, is really expensive. So they used to smuggle the records in. And a lot of the DJs would share records. And they were across many different genres of music. Yeah. And so when you don't have a lot of access, you don't have a lot of choice, you end up having to play what you've got to play. And then eventually it just evolves into this beautiful eclectic array of music, which I think is great. I wish it was like that now. I wish the next track wasn't
there's been
expected.
a lot of DJs over the years that, Brandon Block was another one that would throw in stuff that you thought,
with Alex.
Yeah, Alex didn't do it so much. Alex played dance music, but Brandon would. I can always remember Brandon Block playing Phil Collins in the Air Tonight with that big drum beat.
I've heard the story of where I think he just kept playing it on loop.
That would surprise me.
And I'm going to put them in there in the Space Terrace. I'm going to obviously do the opening of Space Terrace in book 3, and then one page.
It was a cloakroom, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to make them a 2-headed DJ.
Brandon and Alex. Brandon won't like that. Brandon won't like that.
Just one page. We will separate them as well.
But it was Alex. Alex and my friend James Mitchell that started the Terrace. Brandon came in. Alex asked Brandon to DJ, and he came and stayed the summer. And he tells the story in our podcast. And it's a fantastic story.
A great story, and then we're going to put the story of Tahiti Bar in there afterwards with Ernesto.
Do you know who started that?
Ernesto
No. The parties on the beach. Them 2 Italians drove me mad. So those. Anyway, so I was doing all this. I was doing,
the English and the Italians never mix that well.
They kept saying to me, no, they were our friends, but they kept going, Alan, do something with us on the beach. Do something with us on the beach. And I'm like, I said, I'm working all night, and I was doing so many parties. And anyway, so I gave in. I gave in there. So I said, okay. So after Space one morning, I got some decks and I got Brandon and Alex, and we sat up on the beach. You know what they said to me? There's too many people. I said, you like a bloody drive me, mate. It drove me mad for fun.
So you were on Bossa Beach, first of all?
It was on Bossa, yeah.
So did it not, was it
Tiny,
not,
tiny, it was
was
a
it
little
there
round
before
bar.
it was Tahiti bar?
Yeah, you know where Bora Bora is now? It was sort of just near
Yeah,
it.
that would have been Tahiti.
Yeah.
And then that turned into Zenith.
So that I did the first party on the beach.
Nice. They're telling me, Ernesto was telling me the story that they, not that beach, but they went to another beach afterwards with Zenith, and they were letting off fireworks, and it closed the airport.
Oh, wow.
There's so many bad stories. I mean,
So many.
I mean, this island. I mean, I always tell the story about Tommy with fireworks. He was obsessed with them because the fireworks in Spain are much louder, and and he was obsessed with them. And in the 80s, it was where he was running around the beach like a madman, blowing everyone up. He blew the mayor of Ibiza town up.
I listened to that in your interview. I think Danny Gould from Clockwork Orange liked his fireworks back in the day too.
Yeah, listen, often up running around blowing people up. It was nuts. It was nuts. I mean, Tommy was mad. He'd be running around the island with a sarong, and he was ginger and freckly. Madness, absolute madness, blowing everyone up. Oh. So when is the clubby book coming out? When you going to do that?
So book one's out now. It's only available on Amazon. People keep asking me why. I was explaining why there's no big books in Ibiza. Tax reasons. All comes down to taxes. It's not worth it for one book. So book 2 is going to come out May next year, and that's 80 to 87. So that's also got your rock stars in it, like Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. And then book 3 is not going to be until the year after, so you've got to wait till May 2028.
So I've got to live a bit longer.
You've got to live a bit longer. And that'll be from 1988 to 1998.
That's the vintage year, you do know that. That was the year, 88 was the best year ever. And it really, really exploded completely. I mean, that late 87 was good. But 88 was just, I mean, it was a new world.
Yeah, and then I think again it explodes like 94, like Manumission, and all the big like labels coming.
Well, that story, you know why the Manumission came, don't you? Because Tommy was competing. Me and Tommy had split up in 93. Yeah. And Tommy and Paul Dennis brought Manumission on a Monday to compete with My Mad Mondays at Pacha. That's why they...
Oh, really?
So 6 weeks in, they had a row with Andy from Manumission. And I think PD gave him a clump, and the rest is history. Manumission carried on. Tommy and Paul got kicked, were out.
Right.
And the rest is history.
I heard the story. Croissant show in Ibiza town. So I was talking to Andre, who used to own it, and so Mike used to come in, and he was like, he wanted to find this club for his night, and he wanted Pacha. But he got coup. Yeah. And he wasn't happy.
I was already there though, wasn't I?
Yeah. But he wasn't happy about that. But I mean, it turned out pretty well. Yeah. And so for opening night, he had this brown parcel paper, and he wrote on it Manumission, and he stuck it up around Ibiza town.
I've seen it. I remember because
and no one knew what Manumission went. So Andre was like, everyone in Croissant show was like, and they were like looking it up, like, what does it mean? And then and then I think he was busy from the start, wasn't he?
Well, no, it wasn't. 1994 they started. My Mad Mondays was still going strong.
Okay.
So halfway through the season, they sort of won the English over. That's the history. Yeah. I mean, Tommy had already gone by then because they'd kicked him out. But that is the story. So
from when Coup's roof blew off,
that was 91.
Mad Mondays went to Pacha.
We went to Pacha.
Right. Okay. And you stayed there.
We stayed at Pacha I did 94 was my last year, right. And then that's when they all turned up that year. Yeah. You had Cream.
Yeah, 94 was.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Was ridiculous.
Cream, Renaissance, Ministry of Sound, Clockwork Orange, Manumission. There was loads. Yeah. I mean, I had the island to myself prior to that, and then suddenly 94 was.
Kind of around the time of explosion of dance music.
Yeah.
And 94 when the Kevin and Perry movie came out.
I don't know what year that came out.
I watched that movie the day. I mean, some people hate it, but I tell you what, I think it's hilarious. Yeah, I think it's absolutely hilarious.
It is hilarious, yeah.
It's so funny.
A
total piss take, and it just, it's still a classic today.
I quite like Ari Enfield. I always liked Ari Enfield anyway.
hilarious. And what's the female actor called?
Kathy Burke.
Kathy Burke.
She was brilliant. I mean, Kathy Burke is, absolute brilliant. Everything she's ever done, she's been brilliant.
They could just pass off as teenage boys. They just did it so well.
Both of those two characters, I love both those characters. And they've done other characters who have been brilliant as well.
And I was always a massive trance fan, so that theme, the soundtrack to the whole movie, I loved trance. I still love trance. I remember I went to the opening.
That era,
I went to the opening of God's Kitchen. I grew up in Birmingham in Sutton Coldfields, so we had like Sunday Central, God's Kitchen. Oh God, love God's Kitchen.
So the Money Pennies people.
Yeah, I used to love Money Pennies at Bonds. It was like walking, like the club was just so. It was like walking into daylight in the club, and it was just beautiful.
They did El Divino for years here, didn't they? Yeah.
I have to say, like, I think like going out now, it's lost a bit of the theatre. Like, I remember I used to go to God's Kitchen. I remember there was these people come in, like 4 or 5 of them, and they would pretend their white coats on like doctors, and then they had like the kids' stethoscope and like doctor's tools. And they'd come along, they'd like listen for your heartbeat, and of course you'd have no heartbeat, which used to have you on the floor, they'd be like resuscitating you and stuff.
Really?
And I miss all that.
Well,
like,
I
really miss it all.
It was a show, wasn't it? I mean, we recently had Elisa Good on, and she was one of the Manumission performers. And she had loads of crazy stories about some of the things she did. It was theatre, that's what it was.
Yeah,
it was theatre.
It's really, really missing all that now.
Yeah,
a lot of bit serious,
Yeah, no, it's serious clubbing these days, isn't
serious,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the characters like myself and Tommy and Vaughan and people like that. There's not so many of us left anymore.
Vaughan's in book 2. Yeah. So I've got like a dedication because in the 80s the dancer was the rock star, and so I've captured all the dancers.
Vaughan was the only guy dancer. He looked.
I know there was quite a few.
Well, no, back then, because I was there. You got to remember, I was actually there and I was in there. On my night on Mad Monday, so in the ladies' toilets, only me and Vaughan were allowed to sit in there with all the dancers. And there was only me and him.
I mean, you're talking about Pacha.
I talk about Pacha.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got dancers from Coo.
Famously from Coo, it was Marcello. Marcello,
there was another one called Do. But I've got them all. I've got like
Marcello's a good friend of mine.
I've got like maybe 20 of them in all their costumes.
Pacha, it was Vaughan, and with all the amazing looking girls. Yeah.
I've got some great photos of them. And then I've got like at the beginning of 1987, so at the end of the book, I've got like the freaks of Ibiza getting ready for the season. So I've got Ulysses there wondering which military jacket he's going to wear. Maria. I've got Vaughan wondering which hat he's going to wear that season. Like, so I've tried to make
it. Make them first, doesn't he?
He's such a character. Even today, with his crazy hats.
Vaughan. Yeah, I mean, listen, we met on this
Funky
island.
Room is such a cool little bar.
I know, I love the Funky Room. But I mean, we 2 English guys met on this island. Yeah. We've been friends ever since.
But no, and it's been so fun to create this so far. I'm really happy I started it. I never really anticipated it would become so big.
We're on a similar tip, aren't we? We're trying to tell stories of this island and trying to tell the history. Yeah,
celebrating the people who created the magic.
Celebrating the people that have made this place what it is.
Yeah, this book took 53 interviews, and this is probably the smallest book. I might have to do the 90s in 2 books, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the 90s because it's my era. The late 80s, early 90s, it's my era.
Yeah, and also book 4, the early noughties. That one's like 99 to 2010. So you've got like the beginning of like DC-10 and like minimal.
Minimalist.
Cocoon.
The thing's been going quite a long time, isn't it? It's actually
started 99, I think. 99 in Amnesia, and then I wasn't going to go any further. But then you sort of got the introduction.
The island's still going, isn't it?
The introduction of social media and Ushuaia, which completely changed the whole landscape. So now I'm thinking, maybe I have to do book 5. And then by the time I finish book 5, I think that means I can do book 6. So
the island keeps changing, it keeps evolving because what happens is they change the law. Yeah. Like everyone used to go to space as the after party. That law's changed again, where you have to be shut for a couple of hours. Yeah. So then people started partying during the day instead, And because Matusis is one of the big players, and he took it on, and so he can't be the only one doing it, and so there's more of that going on now.
Yeah, you can party all the time, can't you? I do think it's a bit of a shame how, like, I used to work in Ibiza town, and on closing weekend, Ibiza town's dead. Like, all those street parades don't exist anymore.
Well, the island has changed tourism-wise, but what's happened on the island is people coming out for 3-4 days they're not coming out for a week or 2 weeks anymore. No. So they're coming out for a short period of time, going crazy, partying. Yeah. They know where they're going to go before they get here.
Yeah, because they come up for specific shows and they buy tickets before they're even here.
The beaches, the bars, the restaurants are suffering in that respect.
They are suffering, yeah. They've been suffering for probably ever since after COVID, actually.
Yeah, it has changed. The landscape has changed, doesn't it?
Have you, in your book, documented anything COVID?
Well, I guess that's book 4. Oh no, book 5. I think I'm just going to have like a blank page with like a bale of hay just like drifting across just for those years when... I mean, I lived here, so I was going to parties. It was actually quite fun.
Yeah, there was all these secret parties going on, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's always secret parties here. Yeah. In fact, I have to say, those parties now, in my personal opinion, are the better places to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we've all gone through the era where the police shut down all the villa parties. And, taking away the sound systems. And we had that in London.
Yeah,
we've had
still
going. There's lots of history.
Still plenty of them. There was that big one shut down this week.
Yeah, no, listen, and they've done everything right as well, but they never had a license, did they?
No, but I think it was just more about the fact that too many people were posting online, and then there was cars parked in the streets, and
they won't allow that. Yeah.
You can't have cars parked in the streets.
Yeah.
But no, the secret parties are still alive and kicking. We won't tell anyone where they are. But actually, I'd say where I do like 5 to 8.
5 to 8, yeah.
5 to 8. I went there a few times last year.
He's done a good job with the 5 to 8.
Yeah, it's I like just like being outside.
And it's nice. It's nice visually.
It is. It's really nice. And I've been to Cocoon at 5 to 8, but I preferred it at Amnesia last year. It was great, and they're doing it again in July, so I'm going to go to that. And I like Akasha, out of season, when it's not so full. Igor picks some really good music there.
Talking about music, have you got any music choices? Have you got any in your head that you really remember that you love that record or you love that track? Or
any?
I have to say, for me, like one of the most nostalgic ones that gives me like the goosebumps is Cafe Del Mar Energy 52.
Yeah, that's a good track.
This one makes me think of Ibiza. And things like Chicane.
Offshore.
And Saltwater.
Saltwater, yeah.
But then I also like Silicon Soul, Ride On, Ride On.
Oh yeah.
Like I love all sorts of music.
The Silicon Soul, that was
John
Jones.
Yeah, John Jones.
Yeah.
One of his.
But then where I grew up, we used to go to the Q Club, so we go to things like Flashback, and it'd be like the Rat Pack and Baby D.
Yeah. We get them guys on Rat Pack. I know those guys. Yeah.
It was my such iconic nights in the Q Club. Just getting lost in that vast big building. It was amazing in there. People walking around with gas masks on and white gloves, and it was just nuts in there. I love that era.
So the future, what's the future hold for you, Aura?
The future?
More books, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, I make comic books for a living, so I've been making comics for 15 years. I'm just going to give a little business a plug. My business is called Make Me a Comic, if anybody wants a comic. And yeah, I think I'm just going to keep making comics. My goal is to be financially secure because I'm a painter and I just want to sit at home and paint.
I do a bit of painting myself.
But I don't want to paint for money.
It's nice, isn't it?
I just want to paint.
I put music on and start painting, and whatever comes out, comes out. Art's been a strange thing for me because it's also relevant for the music. Because the music you put on is relevant for what you're doing as well. I never painted as a child.
Did you not?
No, I started quite late. And I've sold thousands of paintings.
Have you? Yeah. I want to see your paintings.
I'm particularly good at big, colourful abstracts.
Okay.
And I famously, my son's mother was a really good artist, and my son's a good artist. And I went round there one day, and there was this book on the table, and I started looking at it, and there was this colourful, mad abstract, and I went, well, I could do that. And she laughed. She said, yeah, a lot of people say that. She said, okay. She put up a canvas. I said, where you go? And I went, oh no. I said, well, come out of the room. Let me just play for a little while. And I've still got that painting.
Have you?
It released something in me.
It's good to be creative.
And I didn't use I used a palette knife and paint. Yeah. And I just started going mad with the paint. And it just released the artist in me. And for years and years, it was just pouring out of me.
Yeah. I was drawing before I could write. I was drawing before I could talk. I've been an artist my entire life. Like I studied it all through school. I studied art in at the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors in New York. I studied in Greece. I went to art school in Vienna. I'm a visionary artist, so we use this technique called the Mish technique. And you paint the lights and the shadows, and you do these glazes over the top in like oils or acrylics. I love painting. I've got
a very famous friend, and for me, he's a genius. And do you know the horses are Helios in the Haymarket? The rearing horses in the fountain.
Near Piccadilly.
Yes.
My friend Rudy Weller done those. And he also done the Three Graces that dive off the top of the building.
Wow.
And he is an absolute genius, this man.
Wow.
I bought a piece from him recently, and the piece that he originally done from the Three Graces that are on top of that building, he did an angel. The original piece was an angel.
Beautiful.
A diving backwards angel with the wings. The Three Graces don't have wings, but the original piece he done, I bought that from him recently. I said I've got to buy that from you. And it took me ages for him to sell it to me, but
and it's nice to support your artist friends, you know.
No, but I mean that he is a genius. There's no, I think Prince Charles has sat for him.
Wow.
He's done a bust of Charles. He's an absolute genius, my friend.
Yeah.
Plug there for you, Rude, mate.
I think as artists we're gifted. Like creativity is a gift.
No, listen.
I think everyone has it, but not everyone believes they have it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, no, I never thought I never thought I could paint or do anything. It was just that one moment that sort of.
Good.
And it just exploded. I couldn't stop painting for years. Occasionally I'd go and paint. Now I'm very busy at the moment, so I'm not painting as much. But that release of sort of being free to just do what you're going to do is nice.
I haven't picked up a paintbrush. Like this consumes me. Plus, I'm also running my business, so I spend my whole time writing comic stories and coming up with ideas. Like we've also made comics. We make comics for a lot of tech companies as well. So I'm not technical at all. But I have to go on this massive learning curve of learning all about what they do, because a comic is a great way to explain something in a really simple, entertaining fashion. So this is what I spend my days doing. Someone's picked up a paintbrush in months. But I've got about 20 unfinished paintings in my house.
Yeah, I've got a few scattered around unfinished.
I'm really good at starting them.
I like looking at them thinking, well, what can I do? You sort of go back to things sometimes, don't
I get that years later.
Yeah.
Years later and just go, you know what, I'm just going to go and change that and I'm going to change this. But
you never know when it's quite finished, do you, painting?
Yeah. I got one finished painting in my house. One. But I just love it. That's my goal. I'm going to make my money through comics because I love doing that too. And then I'm just going to sit at home.
You've got to follow your
paint.
passion, haven't you, in life?
Yeah, you really have. And I feel lucky that I can. I feel lucky that you just need balls of steel, basically. You see to think that you can, and you can.
I always say to people, do something you love, and it's not work. It's and follow your passion. You got to follow what you
do.
What does it for you?
I get really bored otherwise. I started off as a retail buyer. I used to buy video games for Asda, Walmart, but that was super fun. Working in the games industry is super creative. But now I've been selling comics for like 15 years. I love it, I have to say.
So, Ora, the whole reason for you being here today is to induct you into our Ibiza Hall of Fame. And we're going to do a part 2 when you bring out the 90s. And we will do a part 2 because it's relevant for what we're doing.
Well, we can show the viewers you in the book. Oh, I know, but you're being book 2. We should do book 2 too.
We should do book 2. Whenever it comes out, we will do a part 2 and show the illustrations of the book.
I'll have to sit with you actually and interview you for the book 2.
Yeah,
so we can get all the details in there.
So
get some photos.
Thank you very much for coming today, Ora.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Welcome to our
Wow, look at that. I think that's quite heavy, isn't it? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I've actually got something for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, the only thing I could find to put it in was a pillowcase. So we make comic covers, and so I was looking at you and I was like, oh, Alan's quite a character. And so we created you there.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. That is so good.
Brilliant.
I'm hoping that I caught everything.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been researching you.
91. Oh, you're something at Mad Monday. That's fantastic.
Oh, that's so good. Look at that.
Pasha. That is a black and white.
Ibiza's
Mental
first
Productions.
promotion.
That was the first year that's what we called it.
Yeah.
It wasn't black and white at the beginning. we did some the Hall of Fames on that. That is fabulous. Thank you very much.
No, I'm glad you like it.
I'm chuffed with that.
You should turn it around
Look
so
at
that the camera can see it.
In your famous top hats. You're not wearing a top hat today, but I noticed you like a top hat with a playing card.
Yeah,
I love
with
hats.
the
I've
playing.
got hundreds and hundreds of hats. I've always loved them. But yeah, what I like is there's lots going on here. Nikki'd be happy. The milk bar's there.
Yeah, I hopefully haven't missed anything, but
no, listen. Love Duff
I even got Tommy Mac in there.
Where is it?
King of Clubs.
Oh yeah. Self-appointed. So it was self-appointed. That.
Oh, I can imagine he was.
And just before we go, just for our viewers, where can people find your book? Because you said Amazon.
Amazon, so it's on Amazon UK. I imagine most of your viewers in the UK, but it's also on Amazon Spain, Italy. Okay. It's on quite a few of the European. So if it all the stock's in the UK, but you buy it off the other European marketplaces and it ships, you don't pay customs tax or anything. I think it's like 99 pence shipping.
Yeah.
I will purchase one myself.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's early days, but it's ticking along, and we're building up our reviews, and yeah, I'm excited.
Brilliant, brilliant. And yeah, we will do a part 2 when you do our era.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
100%. So that's all we have time for at the Ibiza Hall of Fame podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and to follow us on all our platforms. See you soon.